Welcome to our content writing episodes brought to you by Motion Writers. We talk about how to deal with self-doubt, deadlines, rejections, and the inevitable encroachment of daily life that can threaten to hinder your writing goals. We also give you freelancing tips and advice to keep you going as a writer. There are 4 types of writing. Number 4, descriptive writing. This type of writing aims at helping the reader get an impression of the things that are being talked about in detail. A descriptive piece of writing can be made of a person, place, event, or anything natural or artificial. Description appeals to the 5 senses, that is the sight, that is visual image, smell or olfactory, touch, that is the tactical image, hearing, which appeals to the auditory image, and taste, which is gustatory. We can have a static description, that is something that is still, or a cause and effect description that describes how one thing causes and affects another. And this style is used in writing to focus on describing a character, event, or a place in great detail. So there are factors to consider in writing a descriptive piece of literature. And the first factor is the writer's selectiveness. Every writer should bear in mind that a description is selective, and therefore one is not under compulsion to appeal to all senses in a single writing. The second factor to consider is that is the writer's point of view. The writer's point of view should be stated for credibility purposes. The point of view from which one makes an observation affects their shape, size, color, etc., etc. That is the 5 senses. But however, exaggeration must be avoided at all. The next factor is the intended impression. The writer should ensure that the intended impression matches with what is actually created. For example, if you are out to create a picture of a careful, sophisticated man, you should watch out that lest you end up with one of a proud and unlikable character. So you can see how the intended impression dictates how you are supposed to write a piece. The fourth factor is the writer's choice of either being subjective or objective. One can decide to be subjective or objective, but being subjective, you can give views based on your own observation and not what others feel. For example, one can say he dates old women, or he dates a 50-year-old woman, or she is a prostitute, and so on and so on. So there should, however, be a good balance between the subjection. And also, language of description is also a factor that should be considered. And this depends on the kind of description one is engaged in. For example, is it scientific or fictional? That is the description going to be imaginary or based on observation of fact? So one should thus consider factual accuracy versus creating a vivid description. You should use descriptive writing in these types of literature. 1. Poetry. 2. Journal or diary. Nature writing, descriptive passages in fiction, and so forth and so forth. Number 3. Narrative writing. This type of writing tells a story. It involves recounting events that it is mainly used in fiction, creative writing, history, and literature reviews. And this type of writing can be imaginative, subjective, factual, or objective. It is usually characterized by giving an orderly account of an event, whether real or imagined. And the vocabulary used is usually time-based. For example, next, finally, prior to that, as a result, and so forth. The second type of writing is expository writing, and this type of writing is used to define, to explain, and to expound an idea or subject. There are various techniques for writing this type of writing, and these include the definitions, use of analysis, use of comparisons, use of contrast, as well as clarifications, so that to enable the reader to fully understand something. For example, the glossary of a book. It is mainly used in such writings as newspapers, articles, research reports, or projects, glossaries, bibliographies, and so forth and so forth. The last type of writing is called argumentative writing, and this type of writing is done to convince others of the correctness of a given view. It is done by a presentation of points in a logical and constructive way, and its purpose is mainly to persuade readers that your point of view is correct through a series of propositions or generalizations. There must always be relevant and adequate evidence, as well as logical reasoning to reach your conclusion. It should at all times avoid fallacies, that is, subjective opinions, and the facts stated should be able to be proved as true or not true, and they should appeal to reason. And so in our next video, we are going to look deeply into each of these types of writing. But for today's video, we have just looked at the overview of each of these types of writing, and we have just given you the basic understanding. But in the next video, we are going to look at each of these, that is argumentative writing, expository writing, narrative writing, and descriptive writing. So the next topic that we are going to cover in this video is distinguishing between facts, opinions, and inferences. That is, we are going to finish the first section of academic writing today, and we are going to start with the facts, their definitions. So what is a fact? Facts are statements that are readily and easily verifiable. That is, something that is known to be true or false. For example, there are 26 participants in this group, or there are 10,000 Kenyans die every year because of cancer-related problems. These are facts. They can be backed up with figures, and also statistics. The next is opinion. What are opinions? These are based on values, beliefs, or philosophical concepts. That is, a person's judgment based on what a person believes or feels. And one can agree or disagree with what is presented. For example, wearing of pants by men is a trait of being gay, or more money should be given for maternal care, or something should be banned, or prostitution should be legalized. These are just opinions. You can agree with what is presented or disagree. It is just an opinion which there is no truth, and it stands a chance for argument and for it to be considered true or false. Then the last term is inferences. So what are inferences? Inferences are types of opinions that are based on facts. For example, wearing of pants can influence perception of a person. So we have drawn these inferences from our opinions that we have discussed above. For example, wearing of a stand by men is a trait of being gay. So you can infer by saying that wearing of studs can influence the perception of a person. Instead of saying smoking should be banned, you can say that smoking is dangerous. So as we have seen this that smoking is dangerous is an inference from smoking should be banned. So as a task, I want you to clarify the following as facts or opinions. 1. Ngugi wa Thiong'o is a great writer. 2. Ngugi writes textbooks. 3. Kenya has one of the highest crime rates in the world. And 4, poor education causes half of the crimes. Just note those 4 points down. They are your task. Classify them into either fact or opinion. And I want you to send to email me your answers, or you can put them in the description, in the comments box below this video. So let's move to the next topic, that is factors that should be considered in the selection of a research topic. Today we are going to cover a lot of things, so from now on we are going to cover the factors to be considered in the selection of a research topic. And the topic of a research paper is the summary of what an essay is all about. Yes? So the topic of a research is the summary statement of what an essay is all about. And if you want to start a research paper, there are some factors that should be considered. For example, there are 5 factors that should be considered, and we are going to start with the most relevant to the list, but that does not mean that I have arranged them in the priority order. It is just that it is my way of teaching. So let's start with researchability. So a good topic should present a number of issues for research. For example, it should present causes, effects, similarities, differences, and so forth. So when you want to pick a topic for research, one should pick on a topic whose results can be obtained through scholarly research. And you should ask the following questions. 1. Can the topic of the problems be effectively examined and discussed through the process of scholarly research? Second, how are you going to gather information for your topic? For example, you can say you are going to collect information through interviews and questionnaire. So as we have seen, so your topic should be researchable. It should be it should be examined and discussed through the process of scholarly research. The next factor that we are going to look is feasibility or manageability. Every research topic that should be selected, one can be able to do it. That is, a research topic should be one that can be done. For example, if one is to gather evidence by use of observation, then several factors, such as where the observation will be done, need to be taken into consideration. And the topic need to be taken into consideration, and it should not be too wide or too narrow. And there are 5 elements which fall under feasibility, and they are the following: competence, resources, time, motivation, and finances. Let's start with competence. So competence refers to how knowledgeable one is in an area of study, and it asks you, does one have the necessary knowledge required to undertake the research topic at hand? If so, you should take that topic. Second is the resources, and these are the available literature on the research topic, and An active inquiry should be done for one to use what others have written about the same topic or related topic. Additionally, one has to go to the field for data collection, and therefore he or she must consider whether he has the recording equipment. Other resources that are required include activities such as contacting experts on the area of study. The next one is time. The longer the time, the longer the paper. If time is limited, one should narrow the scope of research. But remember to mention that in your introduction and plainly say it is because of time. The next element is motivation. And in motivation, this is the driving force that one has towards doing something. And questions one need to ask are, will I have the necessary drive and determination to see the work to its ultimate conclusion despite the setbacks on the way? Is the drive extrinsic or intrinsic? That is it emanating from me or from the surrounding world? And if the topic is not motivating you, you just drop it and take the one that is motivating you. And the last one is finances, the last element. And these are the funds needed for traveling and for data collection. And a very expensive topic should be avoided unless a researcher is being funded. And finances that one has forces one to limit him or herself. So we are done with feasibility or manageability, and let's go to the next factor, and this is personal interest. So if a topic is not given beforehand, one should choose a topic that they find interesting to write on, and such a topic will be interesting and enjoyable rather than boring or enduring. This can be arrived at by considering one's hobbies and interests. So pick a topic that is driven by intellectual curiosity. However, ensure that your topic falls within the parameters of the scope of the discipline that you are writing about. The next one is significance or rationale. Your topic should be aimed at making contributions to the academic pool. And a significant research should lead to findings that have widespread implications in a given area. Challenge some commonly held truism, that is what is always in existence and is true. All review the inadequacies of the existing laws, views, or policies. So ask yourself, would my topic allow for practical or theoretical questions of interest to be asked about it? Would my research make a difference to the research in my field? If the answers of these two questions are no, then the topic is not worth pursuing. Just drop the topic and search for another one. And the last but not the least factor is novelty or originality. And as a researcher, you should read widely on your topic so as to familiarize yourself with the existing researches. Unnecessary duplication should be avoided unless it is a replication to validate or refute a previously done study. So just ask yourself, has your research problem been thoroughly investigated on? And what is the quality and quantity of the previous research on the topic? And if you have done this and you have asked yourself the above questions and your answers do not give a concordant or a substantive information or proof that you have to do the research, then drop it and look for another one. If not, devise another one. And if not, ask your supervisors to help you formulate a research topic or a thesis statement that will guide you through your writing task. But one thing that you should note, that if you duplicate somebody else's work, just justify why you are doing so. This is because research aims at contributing to the existing knowledge. So that's it for today, and we hope that we have covered everything in chapter 1, which was introduction to academic writing. And attached to this work is your homework. I'll email you your work, or leave them in the description box below. Just find time to do them, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.